Hi, I'm Mike Marino, and this is a brand new episode of Live from My Mother's Basement. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Live from My Mother's Basement. I don't even know how to start tonight's podcast because I'm way too excited to have this guest on the show. This is somebody that's been a part of my life for at least 35 years.
91, I think.
Is it 91? This is the man who actually helped me more in the stand-up comedy business than anybody in the business. Let's be honest. And I admired his career. We're going to talk about his career. We're going to talk about his new career, his old career, what's going on in his life. They called him Wheels, Parise, for the most of his life in the stand-up world. I always called him Michael, and he always called me Michael, which we never really hear, because I always heard Marino.
Oh, Mikey boy.
You did say Marino.
Mikey.
Right. Michael Wheels Parise. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is.
How you doing? Thanks, Mike. Cheers.
Cheers. Look at us. Wearing the same stuff, drinking from the same mug, because there's a lot of stuff we're going to talk about today on tonight's or this afternoon's podcast, depending on when you're watching the show.
I'm happy you came, Mike.
I'm so happy to be here. Look at this. It's about maybe 12:30 in the afternoon here in a secret location in Florida. I'm out here on a comedy tour, and I called up my best friend in the world, and I said, hey, listen, let's do the podcast. Do you mind? Can I come over? And of course, like most of the Italian people in our lives, he said, sure, we're going to have some food, we're going to have some snacks, we're going to talk some business, and here we are.
I put the pot on right for you.
Put the pot on.
Put the pot on. You remember we used to say,
yeah,
put the pot on. We got company coming over. Put the pot on. Make a nice fresh pot. Make a fresh pot. We got company coming over. Come on it.
We're actually here with Jay Davis, who's on the other side of the camera. You got this Irish guy from Florida looking at two ginzaloons.
Well, I go back. How long did we go back with Jay? About the same, right?
Yeah, maybe. Jay Davis.
94, 95? When did you come on the circuit?
I really got in probably 99.
90. Okay, so I knew you way back then. Yeah.
In fact, Jay, can you do me a favor? Could you shut that fan off? Because we might be picking that up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You can just turn that. It'll get nice and silent in here. I got the air conditioner on too. But
the
Jay, I remember Jay when he was a young comic. I mean, when you were like one of the young comics.
Yeah.
You know.
Jay Davis is with us. He's been on many, many comedy tours with some of the most superific, famous people on the planet. And we're on tour here in Florida, me and Jay, but I said, we got to go see Wheels. And we came here this morning to sit down, put Wheels on the podcast and see what's going on in his life and talk about his career. It becomes very, very exciting, especially for me, because we were talking on the way over, me and Jay, and I told him how long we know each other, how many shows we've done with each other. Then when we did my pilot reconstructing Jersey, and how funny you were, and how you lent us your actual dialogue in the pilot, because the pilot we did reconstructing Jersey, when people say, oh man, what a great script, I'm like, well, now wait a minute.
Oh, well,
wait a minute.
That was a good show. The hotel is what pissed me off. No.
We are eventually going to talk about it, and it's not dead. The project is actually coming back to life.
Good.
Because of the way the world is.
Brilliant idea. I don't even, it was a fantastic show.
Yeah.
I mean, shot beautifully.
It is.
It was shot beautifully.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Your scene with Ronnie Marmo is just some of the funniest shit I've ever seen.
Great
We got to
stuff.
put that out so people could take a look. It's so well performed. Because we did shoot good, but the performance is
that's what
phenomenal.
You should actually come out with reconstructing Jersey.
Reconstructing Jersey Part 2.
Yeah, it's Part 2. We're going to do it all over again.
Let's go back in time with my friend here. Mike, where are you from? Where were you born? Brothers, sisters?
There's 5 of us in the family, but I'm the youngest. So I kind of grew up like an only child because my older brothers are in their 70s. My sister's almost 70, and I'm 58. So I kind of grew up an only child. I'm from Long Island, New York. I grew up in Long Island until 1974, and then we moved to Central Florida. And Central Florida is actually where I kind of grew up. I went to middle school, high school, and then I'm going to Florida State after that. Leaving Florida State because I knew that anything I did in college was a complete waste of time and money. And that I was eventually going to be a comedian because that's all I ever wanted since I was 8. I left Florida telling my friends, I'm going to New York to be a stand-up comedian.
Is that right?
I knew at 8 years old I wanted to be a comedian. And there's a story behind that, how and all that, but we can get into that another time.
Tell us. No, I would like to know that
Well,
story.
at
You know,
7
you were
years,
you were a comedian, one of the best
Well,
comedians.
thank you. And it was a very blessed life, and I got a lot from it, and I got to meet the greatest people in the world. And one right here next to me, and the other one from across the way there, Jay. But I got into comedy when I was 7 years old, when my dad died. So everybody was over the house. I was 7 years old, and all the Italian houses very dramatic, crying and everything. So I didn't like what I was seeing, so I was starting to do things to make them laugh. I was tap dancing, telling jokes from the Johnny Carson show that I would, and I was making these people laugh, my family and relatives and neighbors, and I was liking the reaction I was getting at 7 years old. Psychologically, stuck in my head, I enjoyed that reaction, and I said I want to always keep that going. I keep on banging the table.
Yeah, I know, we're Italians.
So I always wanted to keep it going, and I decided, well, stand-up would be the way to do it. I just fell in love with it, and so I would watch the Johnny Carson show. My mother would allow me to watch the Johnny Carson show only when there's a stand-up on. So it was very inspiring. So I knew then that that was my destiny.
I can't believe your father passed and you were such a young kid.
7.
That's
So
brutal.
My mother raised me, and my brothers were all married. They would get moving, So here we are, me and my mother moving to Central Florida. I grew up an only child, and I wouldn't want it any other way. I mean, I'd love to have my dad in my life, but who knew him? I didn't know him really at 7, so I can't have those kind of fond memories. But I got amazing memories with my mom, and I would never trade them in the world.
Right. See, I remember some of this, but I don't remember exactly the ages and where you went. But when you went back to New York, when you're done with college, that's when you started getting into...
Well, I went to college for 4 years, but I didn't finish. I finished only 2.
Right.
Because I said, this is stupid. I don't want to be... This is not what I'm looking to do. What am I doing? I wanted to get right and start in my world. I opened up a hot dog wagon in Inverness in 1985, right across from the school that I graduated high school from. I opened up a hot dog wagon, and I was making a ton of money there. People would line up. I was bringing in real hot dogs from New York. The Sabrettes and the Boers said I was doing the onions. I was doing knishes. And at 18, 19 years old, I was in a newspaper. I actually posted it the other day. And the kids in the school were watching me make money, and I was inspiring young entrepreneurs. So I always knew that I was going to be I was an entrepreneur at heart.
Right.
Opened up a car detailing shop. I have a problem with authority. I got to work for myself. And you know why? Because I honestly feel that I know better than they do, and that's how I feel. So I can't work for somebody because I know better. I know what I feel. So I always just created my own world around me. I just whatever I do, and what I'm doing now, what I always did, comedy was always my thing, and
So when did you first start getting on stage and start doing some jokes?
87.
87?
87 is when I started comedy. In March of 87, I was walking by Pip's Comedy Club in Brooklyn in Sheepshead Bay on Emmons Avenue. I was with an ex-girlfriend at the time. Thank God I'm not with her anymore. Nice girl, but wouldn't have never worked out. And she said to me, she goes, look, they got an open mic night across the street at this place called Pip's. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I'm going to go on. And a week later, I wrote an act, 3 minutes. They gave you 3 or 5 minutes back then. I wrote the act, and I performed it, and I killed. And I said, this is it. I went to my work the next day. I was actually a corrections officer. And I went to work, and I said, I quit. And they said, why? They said, because I'm a comedian now, I told them. And what do you mean you're a comedian now? I'm like, yeah, and that's it. I just quit. And I was a cook in the jail. So I was a correction officer cook. And then I started doing comedy. And the second time I went on stage, I bombed. Because the first time you go on stage, you kill. Most of the time. After that, you bomb because what you're doing is you're trying to become the comedian now. So you're doing things comedians do, and then the bombing process begins.
I get that, because what you're basically saying is you went on stage as you.
Organic.
Organic.
Right, and I just kind of... So I realized about a year into what I'm doing, I'm bombing, I'm getting better, but I got to go back to just being me. I'm trying to become something I'm not. And again, I got to be my own boss, and I said, fuck it. Exactly what I said. And I just became Wheels at that point, and that's where I created the name and created the brand of Wheels by that. Wheels is pretty much a character that I developed based on a bunch of Italian guys that I grew up watching in the movies and watching on the streets in Brooklyn, hanging out back in the day. as I got older, and he's that guy on the corner who gets everything wrong. He's a gavone. He can't say anything right. He's a buffoon.
He's a gavone.
And I created that character, and and that was it.
I know you have a tattoo of a wheel on your arm.
I got it in Rhode Island, 1992. I was with Dice. He dared me.
Oh, is that right?
And I said, well, if you get one, I'll get one. He goes, I'm Jewish. I can't get one. I'm like, all right, I'll get one. So I got a tattoo.
How did you get involved with Andrew Dice Clay, who I guess at that time was Andrew Silverstein? Or
No, he was hot at that point. So
Yeah.
I got involved with him in '89. He came to Pips, and he was like, he was the Dice man at that point. He was, getting ready to sell out the Garden, and he was actually in the middle of doing the Garden. And he came into Pips and he bumped everybody, and I just said, this guy's insane. I'm like, I got to talk to him a little bit, and he goes, he's nice, and kind of didn't brush me off, but he kind of did his thing. Then one week he comes in, about a week later, he made another appearance. I was on stage, and I was wearing a Brooklyn shirt, and he came on stage with me, and he put the microphone in my face, and he goes, I want you to breathe in the microphone. He was taking with a VH1 camcorder. And I was a lot heavier than I am now, if you can believe that. I was about 150 pounds heavier, and I was breathing heavy. And he goes, breathe, breathe. So I was telling a joke, and I would breathe, and he loved it. And then he watched me on stage after that, a week later again. And he goes, you're really doing great. He goes, you're funny. And he goes, maybe, keep on doing what you're doing, and we can hang one day. I'm like, and we became friends. I didn't open for him for a year after that. And then one day he came over to me at Pips on a Sunday night, and at the open mic night, I was hosting by that time. And he goes, what are you doing next week? I said, I don't know, nothing. He goes, you want to open for me at Radio City Music Hall? And that was it.
No kidding.
I opened for him. Noodles Levenstein was the opening act. I went on before Noodles. I crushed beyond belief. Noodles couldn't follow me. Noodles got tossed. I got brought in, and I was his opening act. So I ended up doing all the arenas, the big arenas, and all the big theaters. And I was his main opening act until July 10th of 1993 is when I launched.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And how about the robe? When did that come into play?
The robe came
and
into
the
play in
slippers.
91 in L.A. when I had to go out to L.A. to do the movie Dice Rules, and I was staying at his house. And he goes, you should do. We were getting ready to go on the road, a private plane tour. And he goes to me, you know what you should do on stage? Why don't you wear a bathrobe and slippers? That could be great. You could be like the new Gleason. I'm like, cool. So I tried it out. It worked. And I started doing the robe. And in 1993, July 10th of 93, I did the pay-per-view event with him at Westbury Music Fair at the time. And it was 30 million subscribers who subscribed that night. It was a sold-out show. I got a standing ovation in front of 7,000 people. And that's when it was my last official show with Dice as the opening act. I was, then of course I did open for him later in the years, but I wasn't his main. And then I ended up launching. I ended up signing with ICM 2 days after they called me and they said they wanted me to sign. So I signed with ICM, Levine, and we ended up going from there. And I ended up doing my own thing as a headliner, and then moving to LA full time in 91.
91?
And 94 full time. I was going back and forth up until 93.
Right.
So full time 93. Moved to LA. 91 I was going out there.
So your very first stage of comedy was Pips in
Comedy
Brooklyn,
Club in Brooklyn.
which is no longer in existence.
No, it's a sushi place now. From what I hear.
But it was around for a long time.
Yeah, everybody started at Pips.
Yeah.
Pips is the oldest comedy club in the country, 1962. Everybody thinks it's the one in L.A. I forget the name of it, in Pasadena. What is it?
Ice House.
The Ice House, but it's not the Ice House. The Ice House opened up after. Pips was the first comedy club to open up in the country in 1962. Georgie Schultz opened it up, who was the opening act for Lenny Bruce. Lenny Bruce would work on his act, Rodney Dangerfield. Georgie Schultz actually gave Rodney Dangerfield the line, "I get no respect."
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So he gave him, and it's all written down. It's all documented.
Great trivia. Great history. So you're pursuing your career. You're knocking it out of the ballpark. I made my way to Los Angeles, and then I bump into Wheels. And I remember when I met you because you were hanging around with a bunch of Italian entertainers that were in front of the Comedy Store. I, at the time, didn't even think I was going to get into stand-up.
Well, I met you at Grandpa's in Staten Island.
Oh, that's right. Holy shit, I was your opening
You
act.
opened the
Actually, it wasn't the opening. I was the host.
You were the host of that show.
I was the host. That's when I
got to tell you quickly.
Oh, yeah.
So
Take your time.
This is a bit of history, and the reason why I'm saying it is because now it's finally out. No one knew it back then. So, do you remember Augie, who owned Grandpa's? Augie, the guy with the glasses, you know,
Kind of.
not old Italian guy, nicest guy in the world, Augie. Piece of bread, beautiful guy, Augie was great. Just about 2 weeks ago, I look on Facebook, Augie passed away. Reputed Bonanno Kappa regime passes away. Augie, owner of Grandpa's Comedy Club. The guy was a captain in the Bonanno family. No one knew this. High profile, not even like a working schmuck. The guy was a captain, had his own crew.
He had
Had a crew.
He kept his mouth shut.
He didn't say niente.
I never do
Until
it.
he passed away, it was on Instagram. And I'm not making this on Instagram, so you can look it up. I'm not saying anything that shouldn't be. I'm not a rat. This is what it was. That's it. All right.
I do remember that night. I think it was like one of my first performances in my life. I don't even remember how I got the gig. There was another guy on that show who went into who
Yeah.
did the middle.
And I was doing it, and I remember going back to the table and Organ going, Mike Marino's good, this kid.
Yeah,
This kid's good.
yeah.
Like I like him, I said.
I remember seeing you. I'm like, oh my God, that's a legendary Wheels Parise. He's got the robe on too. And then you went on stage slipping
Yeah.
and sliding.
But then we really became friendly in LA.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember coming out to Los Angeles. I don't know how it happened. We bumped into each other at the Comedy Store. You invited me over to your house for coffee, and you were staying in Mitzi's place
The
up there
hotel.
on the hill.
Yeah. Oh,
No, it was in the
I
house.
was staying at the house at that time.
The
yeah.
house
I
was all
yeah.
dark purple,
Crest
blue,
Hill.
and yeah. We had some coffees up there, and then I was watching you, and we became friends. And
We
And
gotta
away
say,
we went.
I got to tell you the truth. And people, if you're listening out there, me and Marino are playing the whole podcast thing right now, having a great time. Me and Marino go way back.
oh yeah,
I mean, there's things we can't even talk about on the show.
no, probably
So-
not.
But a lot of people don't even realize that you and I are the ones who discovered Sebastian.
I told a few people this is the reason why Sebastian started playing the Comedy Store. Mike.
But he came up to us because we both supported what he did. Remember he gave us the wine bottles.
Yes, he
was
gave
ve-
us a
he
bottle
was
of
nice
wine to
back
say
then.
thank you. It was
He wasn't,
Christmas.
You know, he was during Christmas. He wanted to say thank you to both of us. Yeah, I got in the showcase, but we both supported him heavily, and so he gave. He was then. He was. Sebastian's a funny guy. Who sees him anymore? He forgot his friends, but he's a nice guy. And I have nothing to lose. I'll say how you can say what you want, but I say it like it is. He's a great guy. I wish him the best. He gave me a lot of credit, but he ain't calling anymore. But we're the ones that got him. So there you go.
I remember when he came over to the Comedy Store. He used to go on stage and go, "I'm pissed off."
Yeah, the week I had today.
Yeah, the week I had today,
He was
which is very funny.
He was a server at the Four Seasons. We
week
love
I had
Sebastian.
today.
I'm nothing against him. I'm just saying the way it is the way it is. We're not going to deny that.
Well, eventually, and I hope you can confirm this with me, eventually, me, you, and Sebastian did the backup vocals
That's
on
right.
Dice's rap song,
Boogaloogaloo.
Boogaloogaloo. We were the Boogaloo Boys.
Yep.
We were in the booth. I was so excited going, I can't believe I'm getting to do this. And we're
Yeah.
going Boogaloogaloo, Boogaloogaloo, Boogaloogaloo.
Yeah,
Boo.
I got Sebastian to open up for Dice at the Stardust Hotel in Vegas. I was the opening act at the Stardust. That's when I went back with Dice, and Sebastian would open for me to get the show ready, and I would get the show ready for Dice. We would hang out in the hotel rooms together at night and laugh our asses off till wee hours of the morning. He used to come over to the house, if you remember, and eat Sunday gravy over my house with you.
Yeah, oh yes.
And Luca.
When we had Family Day.
Yeah.
All the Italian comedians, when we were done doing this show that they called A Night of 1,000 Guidos, every Sunday, all the Italian comedians from Boston, Florida, Chicago, wherever they were, we would have Family Day, and everybody had, whether they called it sauce or gravy,
Whatever
put
you
it on
call
the
it.
table,
Yeah.
and we ate.
Exactly.
That was our camaraderie.
That's how we did things.
Yeah. I remember when you did introduce me to Andrew Dice Clay. And I would see Dice every time on Sunday nights when I was hosting the open mic.
Right.
So I would go on stage, do a couple of jokes. You would go on stage, do a couple of jokes, and we just handed the microphone to Dice and said, "We'll be in the parking
We'll be in
lot."
the parking lot, and that was the end of that.
and everybody basically just went home because Dice would go on stage for 2 hours.
2 years, long time. Well, who was the one who started the whole craze of going on stage late? Was it Eddie Griffin?
Eddie did it.
I mean, everybody started. There was like a time in comedy where everybody had to top the other one who went on the longest. I think Chappelle did 3 hours at the Laugh Factory one night
In front of nobody.
in front of
It was
nobody.
like 5 people
I
sitting
couldn't
there.
wait to get off. After 30 minutes, I'm
Yeah.
done. I'm like, that's it. Stop paying me after that.
I remember when Dice was always sitting on the steps backstage. You guys were really, really close and buddies and
Yes.
whatnot. And everybody else just kind of looked at the icon and didn't say much.
Your dad, he loved your dad.
I wanted to bring that up
He
too.
loved your dad. He still says once in a while.
It's-
I told him Marino's coming over. We're going to do his podcast. He goes, "How's his father doing?" I'm like, "He's doing great." I said, "Mr. Marino."
You know why? This is really what happened.
They bonded over smoking.
Cigarettes.
Yeah.
My father was an avid smoker. He would smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day. Dice was still smoking at that time. And my father came to visit. So Joe Diaz was there, me, you, Chewy,
Right.
the guy who worked the front door.
Yeah, Chewy.
So I remember being on stage. I'm trying to get some jokes out. I'm introducing some guys. And my father comes inside and he goes, "Your friend out there says you're doing good. He's going to take you on the road." And I go, "Who are you talking to, Wheels?" He goes, No, that's not his name. The other guy with the leather jacket. And I go, who you talking about? He goes, "I don't know his name. He keeps bumming my cigarettes."
That's funny.
Could you imagine? I go, "Dad, you mean Andrew Dice Clay?" "Yeah, the guy over there. He's
I
my
think that's why Dice liked him, not only because of the cigarettes, but I think because it didn't phase your dad.
nothing. He didn't give a
Where
shit.
when somebody phased was by Dice, he would back off. But when wasn't phased, he felt like he could be normal in front of people, be regular.
Yes,
And I think he was like that with your dad.
he was. Because when Dice did get me that week at Rascals in West Orange, New Jersey,
Yeah.
this is back in the 90s, me, him, Jimmy Norton,
Mm-hmm.
and Dice, he asked for my father. He goes, "Is your father here?" My
Yeah.
father comes walking in the green room and he threw Dice on the floor and he goes, "I love your father." Because my father thought that was a cool thing
Yeah,
to
yeah,
do.
just, like,
And he throws the
raps.
dice on the floor. I go, "I love this guy." But I remember Dice saying to me, and a lot of people ask me, "Did you really get your New Jersey's bad boy moniker from New Jersey?" And I'm like, "No, I actually didn't. I was told never to say that.
Right.
That I'm a good boy, that I'm a clean comic."
Right.
It was Dice that said it.
Right.
He said to me, "You're the Golden Guido. You should wear a jacket and a tie."
That's a great name, the Golden Guido.
The
Why
Golden
didn't you use
Guido.
the Golden Guido?
I don't know.
What a great name that is. The
Well-
Golden Guido makes so much sense.
He was saying things like, "I'm the Brooklyn bad boy. We should have a bunch of different bad boys. We get
okay.
this, that, and the other thing." And he goes, "Maybe New Jersey's bad boy, the Golden Guido." And I just was like,
It's a
"I'll
great
take
name.
it."
Yeah, I would definitely .com that one.
He even said on stage one night when I was off, he said, look at that light-skinned Italian. I never seen one of those."
Yeah. Yeah.
But these are great stories.
Yeah,
Then
it's the
eventually, we ended up doing a lot of shows.
Now, for your audience out there, they know you as the Jersey's bad boy, and you're pretty clean. You do all
Right.
that. But there's another side of Marino. There's a dirty side of Marino too that you don't hear as much. It's late night at the Comedy Store when there's 5 people, 6 people. That's when it gets a little different.
Well, you never know in the stand-up world what to do.
Right.
And if you remember, there were times when we'd get heckled to a point where we were ready to fight.
I've seen you annihilate people, and it wasn't the nicest things you said to me. You weren't that clean when you were annihilating.
Hey, you did that too,
somebody.
man.
Oh,
I
yes,
remember
but I'm
standing in the back of the room.
self-admitting
Get
it.
ready, man. We're going down.
Yes.
We're gonna fucking fight this out.
I took a cruise ship recently. I was on a Celebrity Cruise. You ever do Celebrity?
Once or twice.
Ralph Harris was on.
Oh, no kidding.
I got to watch his act. Yeah, it was very nice. And I enjoyed it. It was kind of neat to see that. But I don't know if I could do the cruise because it's just so much. You're so locked in there too long. I don't know. I mean, you get to see the world, though. It was cool. It was in Italy.
Wow.
Yeah, I did the Mediterranean cruise.
Some of my favorite memories of you performing was when we were in Vegas and you were living in Vegas and we would go over to the Laugh Factory and your improv skills. And I always told people all the time, Wheels is probably the only guy that could go on stage and not say anything and get huge laughs.
Yes.
When you used to
Well,
walk
thank
on
you.
stage, you would walk on stage and go, "Oh,
Yeah, bloated.
let me catch my breath here. I walk." You ever walk?
You ever walk
I walked from over there to here, and
good
people were just falling out laughing.
15 feet, though, Mike? You got to go. When you got to go that distance. So, you're thinking, especially when you got to talk, and you're walking 15, 20 feet. It's not,
And the subtleties of a joke that almost didn't have any words. So when you used to do that thing, you ever have the Chinese people bring you the food and they wrapped it up in the plastic and you would go like this with your hands? Can't open it. Can't open it.
It's funny. You were playing at the same place. I think you're playing in Port Charlotte this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Visani's.
Visani's.
I came to visit Mike at Visani's, and you asked me to go on stage. Now I was ready to go on stage, but I went on stage after not being on stage for many years, probably 3 or 4 at that time. I didn't have a good set, to be honest with you. I didn't enjoy that night of me going on stage because the owner of Visani's, nice guy, wanted me to MC the show.
Right.
I just wanted to do a guest spot.
Right.
You know, I wasn't there to work. Go to
Yeah.
7 minutes. I want to get the hell out and go enjoy a taco somewhere. You know, but he. So I didn't have a good set. But I redeemed myself recently at McGurty's Comedy Club in Sarasota. Dice was here. He asked me to open for me after 5 years of not going on stage. I went on stage, not even knowing I was going on, in shorts and loafers. I never do that, and I killed. So I have to say, I still had it in me. I didn't realize
It's
that. It's
good to hear because, we miss you.
Well,
We miss you.
I'm
There's
good.
a lot of guys that are phenomenons and they retire for whatever reason. But the thing is, it's always in you.
It is.
So no matter what happens, I think, even if you took a 5-year sabbatical and you say, do me a favor, jump on stage, it's like the first time at Pips.
Well, yeah.
You bring back your vibrato and away you go.
But when I was on stage opening for Dice that night, it was about a month ago, I wasn't struggling at all. I was back, and I was saying to myself, "This is interesting how it really comes back to you when you say the one joke will knock off the rest of them. It just kind of hits. It's kind of repetitive.
Yeah.
And I felt I was a little nervous before I walked on, but I was able to do my thing as Wheels, truly as Wheels, and I did my crush. And it felt good because I really felt like shit the night that I opened that night for you in Visani's. I have to say it stuck with my head. I'm like, I didn't like that feeling, but
You're going to redeem yourself even more and more because it's going to come. You're going to get that phone call, especially if it's from me. I'm going to be like, look, we're shooting. Fly in.
I'll do that. But I ain't going. I'm very
Fly
comfortable
in.
not going on stage anymore. I enjoy my life now. But yes, I love comedy still in my core, but I just choose to do what I do now. I love it.
So, well, then tell us about what you do now. Because when we were younger and you were doing stand-up, you were always the greatest cook. I was telling Jay on the way over here the one time you made a Thanksgiving dinner for misfits. We
Yes.
really didn't even all know each other that well.
No.
And I think you were with a girl you were dating at the time. Maybe it was just the three of
Maybe
us.
Lisa. I don't even
Lisa.
remember. Maybe.
And the food was all over the table. Thanksgiving buffet
Was that up
for
in
3
Cresthill?
people. When you had an apartment.
Oh God, I don't remember.
You had an apartment on Riverside.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez, I don't even remember that.
And the food was insane. He's such a great cook. Then you left the business to open up Cannoli Kings. Then I think you went to Colorado to open up a
I opened
restaurant.
up a restaurant
Then you
in
went.
Colorado. I had
then
a
you-
restaurant in North Carolina. I actually had a restaurant in Hollywood that I was partners in, a restaurant called Tangerine, which is on Sunset and Holloway. You know that round thing?
Yeah.
I was a partner in that restaurant. Eddie Griffin bought my end out.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So how it happened is, I went to Culinary Institute of America. They call it the CIA. I went to 2 years of that. Culinary Institute of America, most prestigious school in the country when it comes to being a chef. Left there, got my so I'm an alumni of that. I never really talk about that too much, but now I do. So I was an executive chef for many, many years, as I was a comic. And I would always use cooking as a form of making money quickly when I needed to, because I was a struggling comedian. But I never talked about being a chef. I always did. But yes, I'm a certified executive chef through the Culinary Institute of America, ACF, American Culinary Federation. And I'm also listed as one of the top 20 chefs in Los Angeles. And
Oh,
this
no
is
shit.
all researchable, yeah. I won, I actually have it on the wall here. I was inducted into the Great Chefs of LA, top 20 in 2003. So that's always been in me, but I always kept that kind of a separate lifestyle. I opened up a restaurant. I had Cannoli Kings Catering in Los Angeles, opened out of a 1-bedroom apartment, and just really marketed through through MySpace at the time and through Craigslist. And I embraced the new way of technology, and I just started doing really well. And we became #1 catering company in Los Angeles, 2006, 7, and 8. I closed it up because of the recession, moved to North Carolina, opened up a restaurant in Asheville, and then moved to Vegas, got out of the restaurant industry, got back into comedy until I came back to Florida. Now we're here. And I opened up Parise's. And Parise's is a Parise coffee. And we do our own coffees. As you can see, we're based in Venice. We roast all our own coffees. I have a food trailer, and I also have a retail space here. And here's my coffee, a couple of the brands.
Yes,
that I do.
let's do this because I'm enjoying a
Just wanna
cup of
show you the
coffee
New
this
York
morning.
one. This one went viral. Dice took this viral on Instagram. Cannoli cream. This is actually Adam Sandler's favorite coffee right here in New York. So we started the coffee, and I also do our food truck, which is littleitalyvenice.com, and we just got voted #1 in Sarasota. We do sandwiches and cannolis and cream puffs and fresh breads and focaccia and ciabattas.
Let me shove
Real
this into
deal
the
stuff.
camera because this reminds me of when I was in New York City back in the day, and you went to a diner
Yeah.
and the coffee cups looked just like that. Look
Well,
at
that
that.
that's the coffee cup.
Look at that. Isn't that
Yeah.
delicious?
Isn't that nice?
It smells so good. The bag ain't even open. It just smells so good. I know if I pop this open, but I don't want it because I'm taking it with me on the plane.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a couple of bags. On
This
on
is
both you guys.
great. And so tell everybody where they get this coffee.
So you can go to PariseCoffee.com and you can order coffees. You can get it in decaf, whole bean, or ground, and we'll grind it for you. It's all fresh roasted. So the minute you put the order in, we roast. So you're getting a fresh product.
Well, this is the whole bean. I could hear it.
This was all roasted 2 days ago. The only ones we grind in store here are the flavors because we don't mix it with the grinder with the whole bean because we don't want it overlapping and corrupting the non-flavored coffee. So
See, who even knows that? This is the Christmas coffee that we're having right now. And there's a lot of different coffees here. There's big bags, little bags,
I have
short
19
bags.
in my portfolio.
19
complete. Over here, I think
coffees?
got about 7 or 8 different brands.
All right, let me see if I can't lift up the camera so you guys can see the table of
That's,
the coffees.
that's only about 5 or 6 different styles there. But I have 19 online that you can get.
Look at that.
PariseCoffee.com.
We're in the office / warehouse /
Headquarters,
restaurant,
man cave, you know.
man cave.
So then if you go to littleitalyvenice.com, that's my food truck, and that's where I do my sandwiches, and it's parked outside, and I do all fresh food, and we just got voted #1 in Sarasota.
Holy shit, you're
Best
moving
of.
very fast.
So things are going really well, and this is my life, and I love every minute of it, and I love doing my food back in the food business again. And I got to be honest, I'm going to tell you the truth. Comedy was great. I did really well in comedy, but not close to what I do in food. And for whatever reason, comedy was good to me. I earned a living. I was able to open up things, but I just love being back in the industry of food again. I love giving people a good product. I just love entertaining.
It's a great place.
When I open that window up on my trailer mic and people line up, that's my stage.
Yes.
I'm watching them and I'm having a good time.
Yeah, you're having a great
So
time.
I'm really never left the stage. I just do it in a different form now.
I actually can't stop looking at the plate of cookies that's on this table.
Yeah, there's a little
So
few mix
come on,
of-
can I do this?
Yeah, I'll show you what we got.
This is such an old school plate with a doily
Yeah.
that you saw in your mom's house or your grandmother's house.
These are the thumb
Look at
creams.
that.
These are what they call the Italian spritzes. Got the raspberry and the apricot. These are crushed pecans over powdered sugar, and the other ones are called the Regina's sesame seed.
All right, so I have to take one of these cookies off the table and put it in my mouth. Now, I have to go for,
course
which
you
is going to
gotta
be
go
my
with powder.
favorite one. It's going to be a little messy.
Crushed
It's
pecans.
going to go all over it.
Crushed
But,
pecans.
oh,
Want to make sure you know because if you have a nut allergy.
and like the gavone that I am, I'm going to dip it in the coffee.
That's how you do
You
it.
have to. Got to soften it up just a little bit.
Yeah, you give it a nice little
And
dunk.
yeah, we're a cooking show now.
There you go.
Mm.
And it falls right in there, the crumbs, and you save it for later. How
Take
is it?
over the show. This is delicious.
So anyway, Marino right now is enjoying himself. I'm over here.
I'm over here now.
I'm over here now. PariseCoffee.com. It's up to you. You don't gotta go to it. When I was in LA, when I opened up Cannoli Kings, you know what my slogan was? Cannoli Kings Catering. We're not for everybody. I said who would say we're not? I actually said we're not for everybody because we weren't. We're an acquired taste. Even nowadays, people say, "Where can we find you?" I'm like, if you're looking for me in the phone book, the penny saver, or anything with paper on it, you can't afford me. You can't. That's the way it works. I'm not trying to be a pompous ass. You just can't. You shouldn't be looking in the phone. Who even has a phone book anymore unless you're short? I mean, say it like it is. If you're short, you put a phone. A lot of people don't know. Because the old cars, the Cadillacs, sat all the way down. Now they have little bumpers that push you up. Years ago, we had the phone book.
If you have a phone book,
Now they make the chairs based on old phone books. Now it's not a phone book anymore. It's just they make it higher phone book quality, you know?
Let's offer a cookie to our friend Jay Davis. Jay, would you like a coffee? A cookie?
You're not no nut allergy, right, Jay?
No nut allergy.
All right, then that's
white
the
one.
sesame, and the white one's got the pecans, and these are apricot and raspberry.
These are sesames? Should I try that? Thank you.
Yeah, those are hard. They're like biscotti.
Oh, wow.
They're very hard. It's a hard cookie. It's supposed to be. It's a
that's
very
good.
sesame based cookie. The whole thing is
Let me tell you,
sesame.
and I love this Christmas blend.
Are you into it?
It's incredible. See, I like coconut. You said there's
Oh
a coconut.
yeah, there you go.
I
Coconut and
love that.
vanilla. Yeah,
Gives
the
it a
Christmas.
tropical flavor.
It makes you feel toasty, kind of warm. And you know, in the tropics, how can you feel warm?
This is the most incredible cookie.
Isn't that
I've
great?
had.
Yeah.
I've had one bite. It's gonna be gone in 2
Everybody knows the
seconds.
rules.
One of the most authentic things about my friend Mike here is he comes from an old school Italian family for real. You can trace his bloodline back to Italy.
Calabrese.
Calabrese.
Calabria.
I'm Abruzzese.
Abruzzese.
For some reason or other, I say gravy, and he says gravy.
I say gravy.
Whether it's a sauce or gravy, I really never gave a shit
Yeah, I
when
don't
anybody says it. I don't care.
Can I explain one thing?
Sure.
You know, because people say, is it sauce? Is it gravy? It doesn't really matter. What it is what you remember growing up as a kid. It's the memory you have of your mother saying, we're going to have sauce tonight. Or if your mother saying, we're going to have gravy tonight. It's the memory. It's not real. Is it a gravy? Who knows, really? Is it a sauce? Yeah, it's a sauce. It's a gravy. It doesn't matter. It's the memory that you love. You love the memory. You're saying the memory.
My mother
never
always
stop saying
said
the
gravy.
memory.
It's gravy because there's meatballs in the sauce and there's braciole in there. There's sausage
There's the
in
bones
there.
and the marrow. Theoretically, yes, it is a gravy. But,
Pork.
you know, it's pork. Yep. Pork. You have the marrow from the bones. You got the braciole.
Now you make this for people to order and take away from your store.
Yeah, so they come here and pick it up. Like today, we had 30 people come this morning at 10 o'clock. They come pick up, they wait, they get their gravy, they take it home. They pre-order it online. You follow us on Facebook, Parise Coffee FL, and you can pre-order it online if you're in the area, and we'll have it made for you. We do it, made it last night. I'm sorry, we made it last night, and we use the real meatballs. I use the veal, the pork, and the beef. I use the real the real deal. Locatelli Romano cheese and the meatballs, fresh garlic and parsley with egg. We don't mess around. I'm not going to give you the rest of it.
Locatelli.
There's a method to it. And you know, that's the whole thing. People always say, you can't get good food in Florida. You can't get good pizza in Florida. Why? It's the water. It's not the water, Mike. It isn't. People say it's the water. No, it's not. It's the pizza sucks. Because you don't know how to make good pizza because you're not a pizza maker. You're a guy who graduated, who left being an electrician in New York or New Jersey. You love to cook for your family. You come to Florida, you open up a pizzeria, and you're going to sell pizza, but nobody gives a shit about your pizza because it sucks because you don't know how to make pizza. You don't understand there's a method to making dough. The fermentation, the dehydration, how you hydrate the dough. There's a method. You don't know that part of it because you're an electrician. And now you want to blame it on the water. But it's really the pizza.
I always wondered what that meant. And what's really great is now we got a lead in to what else is on this table because I've been dying to bite this thing. And I don't even think you realized that you just set us up. Nice little segue to tomato pie.
To the tomato pie. Fresh focaccia
Tomato pie.
every morning. San Marzano tomatoes and calabrese oregano. Little sea salt and little Romano cheese. Done. Eat it cold. That's how you eat it.
Tell us about what's in my hand. And you also called it tomato pie.
Tomato pie.
I actually never said pizza till I moved to California because we said pie.
See, let me see see how the tomato, see how the sauce goes into the actual crust. See, when you make it, the sauce goes down into it. So it's a tomato pie because there's no mozzarella. It's supposed to be eaten cold. A lot of people in Rhode Island will call it bakery pie. New Jersey, they call it tomato pie. In New York, we call it tomato pie as well. And what it is Italian tomatoes, plum tomatoes. You cook the sauce, fresh Italian oregano, calabrese oregano, and you cook it and you put it on top, very light. Little garlic, little Romano cheese on fresh focaccia. It's not pizza dough. It's focaccia. It's a very springy, very airy dough, made fresh every morning. My brother Victor, 60 years in the food industry, makes it for us. He came out of retirement just to make the bread for me every morning. He lives here in Inglewood now. He makes all of our bread and all of our ciabattas fresh every morning. Parise, this is Parise stuff, Parise quality. We would never give you anything. I'll stay home. I'll close up tomorrow. I'll stay home if I had to give a bad quality product. I don't care. I don't need the money. I'll stay home. I'm never going to give you a bad quality product. That's
Hurry,
just
I
who
gotta
am.
bite this damn thing.
Eat the pizza. Jesus Christ. I'm having a
Oh,
good-
it's so fucking good.
It's so good. I already ate my piece.
Jay already had
It
it.
was
He
so
scoffed it
delicious.
down.
It's gone.
I'm having a good time with you, Mike. I'm
This
enjoying
is This is really, really so damn good.
Isn't it?
And you know what? You can have this whenever you want. I'm the type of guy, I'll have this for breakfast with a cup of coffee. Oh, Photoshop.
Why did I feel like I did a glamour shot there?
That's a good shot, guys.
Is it really?
Mike.
Put that up later.
Mike.
I'm gonna post it for everybody. Don't worry about it. Isn't that nice?
Oh,
So, and I like I said, I will never
over the show.
sacrifice my brand for cheap garbage. I won't do it. I don't care. It's not something I can give you. I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, I charge a premium, but you know what? You're getting a premium product. All my meats and stuff come from Arthur Avenue. My sausage comes from Arthur Avenue in the Bronx. Nobody's got it out here. I get it.
little cute box. Get yourself a slice of pizza, tomato pie, big difference.
Because it's
I can't stop eating it.
you eat it cold. It's supposed to be eaten cold. It's the only pizza style bread you eat cold, and it's enjoyable cold, right?
Oh.
Where if you had a slice of pizza, that's enjoyable too. But this is different when you have it cold. You get the flavors come out cold. If you heated that up, flavors would escape.
Is that right?
Yes. You notice when you order a slice of pizza and you go in a pizzeria and you order and they heat it up for you, you notice it's never the same?
Mm-hmm.
But it's better room temperature, right? When you have it at home or it's warm, it's always better. Nothing's escaping.
Don't be confused that this is a Sicilian slice.
No.
This is the real
It's
tomato
the real
pie.
tomato pie. That's the Jersey style tomato pie.
How far would you sell the pizza? Like if somebody ordered it, I guess they can't be in
Well,
a different state.
No, I do send out I do send out my cannolis and stuff, frozen cream and the shells separately, and I give them a pastry bag. People can take it when they get it, and they can fill their own with my cream. I do sell a lot of stuff like that, but the tomato pie I'd have to freeze it, and I don't know how it would be defrosted. It might be good. I don't know. We'll have to give it a shot. I'll have to test that theory before I actually put it out there.
This is so damn good. I
But
can't stop eating.
we have people all over Venice, Sarasota, Bradenton, Inglewood, Port Charlotte that come over here just for that. I open at 10 o'clock. It's sold out by 11. I don't know.
Mike, it's so damn good.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I could tell it's real too when you're saying it.
Yeah, I know, because I won't stop eating. I'm like, take over the show. And it works with coffee. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
It
kinda
works
goes
with coffee.
Yeah, it's a nice thing. Tomato pie or bakery pie for those of you who live in Maine or Rhode Island. You gotta be different. I get it.
There's so many people out there who like to change names of things. But when you're Italian and you're from Italian descent, to me, it really doesn't matter. I don't care what you call it. Just make sure I'm there eating it when I'm with you guys.
And it's delicious, right?
Yep.
You want it to taste good.
Oh, that is so damn good.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you.
So what else do we got on the internet that people can get now? This shirt looks really cool.
I mean, I do have them on the internet if you want them, but my thing is the coffee at PariseCoffee.com. Those are the things that I really do. That's my big business. That's my e-commerce business, and everything is packed, shipped out, sent to you. I have a lot of specials. Follow on Instagram is important. Parise Coffee on Parise_original on Instagram and Parise Coffee FL on Facebook. And I always update. And then when we're going to start mailing things out to other parts of the country as far as food goes, those will be the places you would go to find that information.
It's fun to order coffee and stuff like that on the internet.
Yes.
I love mugs, so I'm definitely going to go home with some collectibles.
Yes,
Love a
definitely.
good mug.
Definitely.
Sometimes I think coffee tastes better if it's put in the right mug.
Don't you think so?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the truth. Yes. I mean, it's nice when you get that cup, but something about a mug, a mug of coffee just feels good.
There are some legendary items in this man cave, but I'm looking at one right now, and I'm going to grab it, and we're going to see if me and Mike come up with the same name of this particular item, right?
Oh, the coffee pot.
Wait a minute. Don't say anything. This is in every true Italian's home.
Well, there's different names for it.
There's a
now.
different name for it. My grandmother and my mother all said the same thing. So what'd you call it?
Well, we called it in making espresso, we called it either a maganetta or bigaletta. But I don't know what there's other names for it that I might not know.
We said Maginette.
Maginette, yeah.
I said that once. Some Italians were like, "It's not a Maginette. Where'd you get that from?" I'm
Yeah,
like, "Well, my mother said it, and my parents are from Italy, so what?
Maginette.
Maginette. And if you do it right, you'll get some of the greatest coffee. If
Oh,
you use
yeah.
Parise's coffee, you're going to get the
You're gonna
most
get a great
incredible coffee.
Yeah. It's a different kind of espresso that you would get in a cafe. It doesn't have the cremosa on the top. That a lot of people like the extraction, but the coffee is going to be beautiful.
I love it. And then you also have one of the oldest Christmas trees. I can't turn the camera around.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
from
see it, but
1974. That one, I got that. You know where I found that Christmas? You want to hear the story about that Christmas tree?
ceramic.
It's
It's
a
a
ceramic.
ceramic
tree.
Christmas
Remember
tree.
the ceramic Christmas trees? So when I bought my house, I have a house, a 1962 mid-century modern home on the Gulf of Mexico in Florida. It's an older home, completely redone. It's beautiful. When we bought the house, I was up in the attic in the garage, and that was up there.
Oh, no kidding.
That was up in my attic in a box. The box was over there, and it was up in the attic. And I'm like, this can't be. And there was a whole Santa village up there too, which we have at home. But that was up in the attic of my house when I bought it.
Those things are worth money.
It completely works, light bulb and everything. I think it's from the 70s, that one.
I can't stop eating this. It's so damn fucking good, man.
I
Holy
love it.
shit.
But that's the thing. I love vintage stuff. Are you a vintage? Well, you always like that. Your basement's got all vintage stuff in it too.
I love vintage stuff. I love collectibles. I like things that have to do with my family's history.
Right.
So you can actually explain the story.
Right.
Because in show business, we do create stories every single day.
Right.
And we really don't do the normal thing. We travel the world and you meet all kinds of people.
Right.
And then here it is all these years later. I haven't seen you probably in a year, 2 years.
About a year or two, maybe.
And here we are sitting here
Like it's
having
yesterday.
food like we did back in the day.
Yeah.
The chemistry between the two of us is still badass from
Well,
back
that's
in the
what-
day when we were hanging.
Chemistry don't change. Friendships don't change. Even when I saw Jay, I haven't seen you how long, Jay?
It's been many years.
12, 15
Jeez.
years ago?
Unbelievable.
Maybe. But like
Yeah.
it was yesterday,
It
we're hanging
feels
out.
that way. Our
You know?
connection has always been
You never
strong.
lose that. That's one thing that comedians have is a camaraderie.
It's true.
We understand each other better than anybody else. So we know. We just have that way. It's who we are, We just get it,
Yeah.
There is a scene in the pilot we did reconstructing Jersey that's based on what really happened when I used to hang around with Wheels in the day when we had no money whatsoever.
Oh, yeah. Broke.
We would go to the comedy store, crack some jokes, smoke a little weed,
Yep.
get in my beat up Jeep at the time. Remember the
I
maroon
remember
Jeep?
the maroon Jeep. That's right.
We used to struggle getting over Coldwater Canyon
remember that.
because it couldn't get 5 gears.
Yeah.
Boom, bang,
Wow,
pow,
that's
pow.
right, the Jeep.
You owe me $1 for gas, you
Then
know.
you bought the Toyota later, right? The Ford.
Yup.
one. Yep.
So we would go to a 7-Eleven at like maybe 1, 2 o'clock. See how he laughed? 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And Wheels taught me how to sample food
Hot
and get
dogs.
away with it. Hot dogs. Hot dogs were on that rolly grill,
Yeah.
whatever. And Wheels would take one, put some ketchup on it, eat it as he walked around pretending he was looking at other things. Oh, what should I get to drink? Maybe I should get some chips. He'd eat the whole hot dog.
Scott,
Then,
right
then,
there.
then he'd go back over to the wheelie thing and get another hot dog, walk around, pretend he's looking at stuff. What else should I get while he was eating a hot dog? Then he'd go back over and the guy would say, "You owe me for 2 hot dogs." And he'd go, "No, I didn't like it. I only sampled it."
Wasn't for me.
"No, you ate it." "No, I didn't eat it. I just sampled it. That's why I'm still in here."
That's why I'm allergic. So now I know. So I won't
And then I would crawl up and go, "Yeah, well, I was sampling it too. I didn't like
But
it."
you would tell
I
me
didn't
though,
like
when even when we weren't together, you would stop at the 7-Eleven on the way home and get a hot dog
I
sometimes.
would do it again by myself. I'm sampling it. So in the pilot, you're sitting in that scene, and the
Sorry,
guy goes,
I'm hitting the
"What the
table."
hell are you doing?" And he goes, "I'm sampling it." He goes, "You can't do that." And he goes, "No, yeah, you just bite it. If you don't like it, you put it back."
Yeah.
It's hilarious. But
wanna
that's
make
how
sure.
reality becomes funny on television.
That's right. That's why when you watch shows like, and that's why reconstructing Jersey was very real. I mean, based on your family's
Yup.
company. I mean, this is all real stuff. I mean,
Well, we're going to put that back together. You also were part of my Make America Italian Again.
that's right.
And when we were shooting that in Las
In Vegas,
Vegas,
right?
I think one of the funniest things is when you said you were going to be in charge of the interior.
Yes.
Do you remember how you did that?
I remember I hurt somebody, didn't I?
Yeah.
I hit
Well, we did a
somebody.
bunch of scenes.
Yeah, I remember that exactly.
But the one when you said, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to redecorate, change the
redecorate.
colors.
Change things around a little bit.
All right, man. Well, this has been so much fun, and I'm going to want to keep on eating my my tomato pie and have some more coffee.
This
So
was
we're
a
going to
lot of
get
fun,
going.
Mike. I really appreciate you having me on the show. This was very nice. I'm looking forward to actually watching the show.
Yes. Well, hey, hopefully we recorded it.
You know, it's funny you say that because I'm looking at this thing. I'm like, how do you even know it's on right now?
There.
Oh, okay, there it is. But imagine if we didn't record it. We just had a great time.
I have to come back in 2 years.
It was all for me. I had my own free show.
And if you said let's do another one, I'm like, there's no way we could just do another
Nah,
one. We talked to done. We'll
We
see you
pretty
next
much
year.
catched everything. I'll talk to you in a couple of years. Tell everybody once again where they can find everything that's going on in your world.
If you want to find Parise Coffee and you want to order your coffee for the house, it's parisecoffee.com, Parise coffee.com. That's if you want coffee sent to you, wherever you live. If you're in Venice, Sarasota area, littleitalyvenice.com is where my trailer is, and I'll always have my menus. I change my menu daily, so don't ask me what's on your menu. I don't have a menu. I change it daily, and you can get all these kind of things. And then, of course, the Instagram is Parise_original and Parise Coffee on Facebook. That's it.
You know what's really great about what you also just said? A lot of Italian people do that.
What's that?
You go into a nice restaurant, nice Italian restaurant, and they got their shit together, and their food is really, really
Yeah.
good. You don't order.
You don't order.
He's going to put it on the table.
Whatever it is
This
that
is
day,
it. This is what you have, and,
Yep.
and you're going to like it no matter what it is.
that's what I do.
So many times I went over your house, I never knew what you were making. We just were like, man, let's eat.
Let me give you an example of what. Oh, here comes somebody right now. Pick up. I got to. Hi, how are you?
Gift certificates,
Yes, I don't have any with me today,
okay.
but I can give you.
Okay, I'm gonna need
While we're
this
recording,
Friday or
a customer
Thursday.
came walking in.
They have it Thursday.
And Michael is taking care of the customer, going to give them some certificates,
Yes.
some Christmas gifts,
Or maybe
some
another
great
hour.
products,
Okay. I want,
top of the line, professional. Food is great.
do you want me to pay you right now?
Look,
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Alrighty.
that's the Christmas
I'm
tree
all
we
the
were
way in the
talking about.
back.
Oh yeah, I know.
Okay.
You got it.
And there you have it.
Lady
What
wanted gift certificates. You know, it's like, I can't just drop everything to give you a $10. I mean, I want to do it for her. I'm going to do it after later, but I mean, you just don't drop everything. In the middle of a freaking podcast here, she's asking for it. And she saw me we're doing something. She didn't even stop. You think I'd come back? You know, like do one of those. Not even. All right.
You know what, though? It's a great way to end an episode because we've never done it before like that in 300 episodes.
Yeah, no, later.
So, oh, I see you doing something.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
All right, ball, right in.
Michael, thank you so much
Thanks, Marino.
for
I
letting us
appreciate
come over to the warehouse, hang out here at Parise's Coffee. This is the greatest. We had a lot of fun. And stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, because you're going to see us together in something really funny other than this little podcast that we did.
Reconstructing Jersey.
Part 7.
Part 7.
All right, we got to get going. Let's make America Italian again. You remember the motto, you don't know nothing, you don't see nothing, you don't say nothing. And how do I end every single one of my broadcasts? By always saying the same thing with my guest. Don't take no shit from nobody. You ready? Don't take no shit from nobody. Bye, everybody. Hey, folks, I hope you're enjoying watching my podcast live from my mother's basement. We're having a lot of fun, and I'm going to have a lot of great guests on the show in the future. So if you like it, hit like. You could also leave a comment. You could subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch other funny videos. And you could also listen to my podcast on your favorite podcast app like Spotify and iTunes.